Welcome back to Tipsy Whiskey Shenanigans. I'm Steven, and tonight, whenever the heck you're watching this, we are getting into the best bourbons of 2023 so far. But before we get into that, please do me that favor, like, comment, and subscribe, as well as a word from today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by ZBiotics. If you're like me and sometimes you struggle doing your daily routine or getting up in the morning and going to the gym like myself after a night of enjoying a few bourbons, well, ZBiotics might just be the answer you're looking for. ZBiotics Pre-Alcohol Probiotic is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in your gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. ZBiotics produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. It's designed to work like your liver, but in your gut, where you need it most. Just remember to drink ZBiotics before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. Thanks to ZBiotics, I'm no longer skipping the gym after a night of live streaming with you all, so stay prepared for those upcoming summer events and go to ZBiotics and order right now. Go to zbiotics.com/tipsy or scan the QR code right here to receive 15% off when you use the code at checkout, the code TIPSY at checkout. Also, you can use that code to sign up for a subscription so you can stay prepared for any of those events you have going on. ZBiotics is also 100% money back guaranteed. So for whatever reason you are unsatisfied, they will refund you, no questions asked. Remember to go to zbiotics.com/tipsy to receive 15% off your first order using the code TIPSY at checkout. Thank you, ZBiotics, for sponsoring this week's episode. All right, let's get right into the meat and potatoes of today's video list. We're about to reach that point of the year where a bunch of companies, brands start releasing new limited edition, allocated, harder to find, brand new releases for 2023 because we're around mid-July. I mean, it's a little early for that season just yet, but we're about halfway through the year, so I wanted to highlight some of the bourbons I've been able to get my hands on this year that I've really liked so far, and these are going to be in no particular order. And also, I will preface, I typically will allow picks in these videos, but for this specific video, I'm not doing any sort of picks, and I'm just doing standard release whiskeys. So let's get right into that with the controversial bourbon. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B523. I still really like this. Some batches are better than others. This batch, I really liked the nose on it, but the palate was a little flat, a little boring, a little bit of like I called it a stale root beer. So still a really great bottling from Elijah Craig. Love all the barrel proofs. This is the first one that we went off of the age platform with it. So now it's 11 and a half instead of 12 years old. But I still think it's really good. And I'm hoping that all of the ones in the future releases are still just as good as that one and keep that relative price. The second they start getting up to 100, things might change a little bit. But for now, I still think they're very competitive and really freaking great compared to everything else at that $80 price range nowadays. And after that one, a red waxy one, Maker's Mark BEP 2023 limited edition. So I missed all of the stay finishing ones from last year, but I am a sucker for these stay finishing ones. This one is very interesting. So I typically really like the Maker's Mark 46 flavor profile and whatnot because it's this toasted French oak stay finishing flavor profile. I think it's one of the greatest Maker's Mark bottles of all time. Like, I am a huge sucker for that. And I forgot what stay finishing a few years back I purchased, but it was like a more toasted one, and I freaking love that. This one is just normal American oak. So it's no longer French oak, or at least this like variation of it. So BEP was just 10 American oak staves toasted. And I'm not gonna lie, I was very worried or not super interested in this bottle, and I just kind of picked it up on a whim. And this is freaking fantastic. It is brown sugars, wood sugars. It is like, it's Maker's Mark if you toasted Maker's Mark. which I know I don't usually say I love Maker's Mark stuff, but it's luscious, it's thick, it's caramely, it's brown sugars, it has that wood sugars, that oakiness, and like it is missing that like spiciness that I get off of the 46 flavor profile that I really, really love. But I think this is a fantastic, like borderline desserty. It still really, really holds its own while bringing some really, really nice, insane wood sugars to the flavor profile. And after that one that blew my mind, and I need to go back and buy other variations of this bottle when I have the time. Doc Swinson's El Cuerpo. This is the best finished bourbon I've had in a minute. And I relatively feel confident saying that. I haven't side-by-sided with anything, but this is the Doc Swinson's distilled in Indiana. I know they source from other things, but that implies that this is only MGP. It is finished in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks, and it's bottled at 113.6 proof. As far as age statement wise, I'm not quite sure how old they are, but this is awesome. It's spicy. It has this like cinnamon toast crunchy vibe going on in there. Like this is one of the most interesting finished bourbons I've had in a minute. I do talk about how much I love finished MGP, and this is a perfect highlight of what you can do with finished MGP. And they have a few other ones that were on the shelf from 2023, like an Amberana finish one and whatnot. So I'll be honest, I'm going to go back and buy the Amberana one too when I get the chance. So stay tuned for those in like the end of the year bottling. And after that one, the first time I've ever gotten this bottling, barrel bourbon. I've never gotten just a bourbon. I usually gravitate towards their finished stuff because, like I said about the last one, I really like the finished stuff. That being said, they sent me a sample of this and it blew my mind. So I had to go out and purchase this. So this is a blend of anywhere from 6 to 15-year-old bourbons per their website. At least they source from Indiana, Kentucky, and Tennessee, which again implies, MGP and Dickel. They're the only company I know that blends Dickel well. But outside of that, this is a pricey one, so the main reason I ended up buying it despite that is the fact that this is straight up like earthy baking spices. This is a very earthy baking spice bourbon. Like so much cinnamon is packed into this bottle. I absolutely love it. And it's not over oaked, which I was kind of, I thought it might be a little bit oakier because of the whole 15-year-old age statement, which I typically like over oak bottles, but this is not super duper oaky. It still has this nice like baking spice and a little bit of a vibrance going on in there. Honestly, a really solid, balanced, blended bourbon coming from barrel. Getting away kind of from bourbon. Kind of, like loosely. I mean, we're getting a corn whiskey. Icarus from Iron Root. This is the most exceptional pour on this list. This bottle is one of the more exceptional or interesting, exciting bottles I've had in the last few years. This is their corn whiskey, which is my personal favorite of just their normal main bottlings. And it is finished in port and peated barrels. And I'll be honest, I usually have very, very poor luck with peated barrel finishing stuff. Usually it's too smoky, it's too funky, whatever the heck they did. This is ridiculously good. So it gets like, on that corn whiskey, it gets like this like fruitiness from the port because, the normal corn whiskey is already fruity, but it's more dried fruit, where that's more like vibrant red fruits, like that red wine, that port, that fortified red wine. And then it has that like just subtle smoke that doesn't really take over the palate. It just kind of adds it in the background, because smoke can be a really dominating flavor profile. But in this one, it's balanced with that red fruit, the smoke, the corn sweetness, the oak. Like that is just an exceptional pour, and it takes your tongue on a freaking roller coaster. I love that bottle. And of course, I love everything from Iron Root. And last but not least, moving completely away from bourbon or bourbon adjacent bottles like corn bottling, I just had to bring this up kind of as an honorable mention for the bourbon list, because this one blew my mind. Westward Rum Finished American single malt. The perfect entry level American single malt. I mean, not price point wise, because it's like 95 bucks or something like that, but flavor wise, it is so freaking good. So Westward, they released this as like a club edition 2022, and then they released it to the mass market as part of their finishing line in 2023. That's why it made itself on this list. But I really, really enjoy this stuff because Westward has a very malty, kind of like chocolatey malt flavor profile, which is fantastic. It's dark, it's dense. I love those bottlings. That being said, this one's finished in rum cask, so it really lightens it up and adds kind of like a brown sugary, like cane sugary sweetness to it, which really makes it kind of like a tropical malt going on. And I really, really love that bottle. That is a great, not price point wise, obviously, but if you're looking to get into some American single malts and you gravitate towards a bourbon or something that's a little sweeter, like a corn whiskey, I really, really think that that would be a great bottling to kind of dip your toes into. That being said, this is a wrap for today's video. These were my bourbons and, well, a few other ones that I really, really liked from 2023 so far. Again, this was in no particular order, so like these aren't ranked or anything like that. These are just the ones I really, really liked. At the end of the year, I'm going to do a ranking, so I'm excited to see where all of these land because I don't care if it's bourbon, rye, so on and so forth. Like they're all going up against each other. So I'm excited to see where all of these land. If you're still watching, please do me that favor. Like, comment, and subscribe. That helps us out a ton, and we seriously appreciate the support. Let me know down below so far what you thought about my video and what bottles have you picked up this year from 2023 that you've really liked. Also, check out the Facebook, Instagram, and the Patreon. Links for all that stuff are down there below as well. Cheers, y'all.